Let's go to the Boss Firearms Hotline. That's where we find my man, Jordan Pugh, here on the program. Mr. Pugh, what up?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good. Look, I know when you come on this show, we're not playing around, right? You're going to give your analysis from a coaching and a player's perspective. And I want your perspective on this because I got a lot of tweets and some texts on Saturday night saying this team is there's no chance they're going to win an SEC championship if this is the kind of football they're going to play. And then I got some that said, dude, they won 38-3. Relax, guys. And I'm a little bit more, I don't know if I'm level-headed. When it comes to football, I try to be level-headed. Right? And I'm like, guys, there's nothing we're going to read from this game unless they lost, right? Which wasn't going to happen. Like, this game, to me, was about getting some reps in there, fixing some mistakes. Not all mistakes were fixed. The game was never in doubt. They took care of business on the second possession. It was over. So I say that a long intro into hearing your thoughts about what you saw on Saturday.
Well, I saw what I wanted to see. I saw a team that took over in the passing game because we needed to get our passing game fixed, right? So that's one of the things that we talked about. Look, at the end of the day, you're right. You're not going to see a whole lot out of this game just because we overmatched them. More athletic. We have more depth. We're just a better overall team, but there's little things that you wanted to see fixed, okay? You wanted to see the pass game be more explosive. You saw that. We know what the run game can do. With the offensive line coming back, being able to be more cohesive as an offensive unit and open up more avenues where we can score points. So I think we saw that this weekend. Defense is the defense, less than 250 yards of total offense. I thought overall it was a game that we were supposed to win. It was a game that we were supposed to win handedly, and we got that done. But the little things that you needed to see improve, I think we saw that improve in this game moving forward as the season winds down. So, of course, you have the ones that see it from all different perspectives. But if you're looking for initial thing or for initial things that we can work on, things that have been plaguing us throughout the year, I think that we addressed those this week. Now we got to be able to take that and continue to move forward in the last two games of the season and build upon what we did this past weekend.
We're breaking things down here with Jordan Pugh on TexAgs Live. All right, so let's kind of take some of this in parts. Defensively, what did you like? What would you like to see more of? Again, it's an offense that was going to struggle. We didn't see a lot of sacks, but And how about this? Was the tackling better in your eyes?
Yeah, the tackling was better. But like you said, you put it like this: I want to see more pressures. I want to see more chaos created within the pocket. We have the defensive lineman that can create the pressure, that can create the sacks. But just the way teams are playing us, man, they know how effective we are, and they're getting the ball out of their hand quickly. A lot more runs, a lot more perimeter runs from offenses, but a lot more quick game out of the offenses as well. But being able to generate more pressure, being able to generate more sacks, which is consistent with the pressure, is what we need to do, especially in this last stretch run. One of the things that both these teams that we're facing in these last 2 weeks with Auburn and with Texas, they like to manipulate a lot of the defense through the play calling, through a lot of misdirection. You're going to see that with Auburn. You're going to see that with Texas. The way that you can counteract that misdirection is through the presence of our D-line, through them collapsing pockets, through them getting penetration. So we have got to be able to do that. We got to be able to build upon that and, man, really be effective when we want to close these last two games out.
Let's talk about quarterbacks, all three. Let's go through them all right? Marcel had a lot more success than he had mistakes, but he did have a couple, right? You had a couple throws you wanted to have. Connor had his struggles. And then, obviously, Miles O'Neal, I thought, looked for a third-string quarterback I didn't expect a lot from. He looked good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't take a lot from Miles O'Neal. At that point, it's garbage time. I'm glad that he looked good in his garbage time. I'm not saying that. Now, we don't want to take anything away from that. When you look at Marcel, you got what you wanted, 268 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Looked like he had more control in the pocket. Looked like he's starting to get more comfortable. I think now because he knows it's his team. He knows that it's his offense now. So you in a game like New Mexico State, man, you want to look at that as a more than less a preseason opportunity, a scrimmage opportunity to get the reps, knowing that we got these last 2 games on the man. With Connor, I think you're looking at a guy who has a little bit of confidence that's lost. That's what I think. I think that you're looking at a guy who knows he's had his ups and downs, he's had his injuries, but he knows that he can play better, and he's trying to fight his way out of that funk. I see a guy that's lost some confidence. But with Marcel, man, the dynamic play that he has, him adding the passing element to it, that's everything that you wanted to get done this week. There's objectives every single week, and I guarantee you in the office, in the meeting rooms, we need to get the pass game going. And I think we got that ball rolling. Now we need to take the momentum and take it through.
Did you see growth from E.J. Smith in the backfield?
I saw a guy who can do what we always thought he could do now that he has more of the opportunity. Amari Daniels, we know that he's explosive, man. He was just behind a guy in Le'Veon Moss who was just a dude, just a guy. But I've never questioned our running back room from the loss of Reuben Owens now to Le'Veon. We got two backs that can get the job done. A lot of it is just opportunity, carrying the ball, getting into a rhythm. So being able to see that done and have him carry the rock a little bit more, man, that just builds more confidence. The more reps you get, the more confidence you get. And I think, man, going in that last stretch run, being able to build confidence from all three guys in that backfield is going to be big. But also being able to find the playmakers on the outside as well through the pass game. Now that we've seen it, now that we've had the explosive plays, that's important. And that's more important than what people know. That's going to be crucial going into these last two games.
All right, let's talk about the offensive line because, again, I don't expect to learn a lot with this level of talent on the offensive line. But, and look, for the most part this season, they have won their battles. South Carolina just comes to mind because that was the one that they didn't win. But what did you think about the O-line?
I thought they played great. Anytime you have over 500-plus yards of total offense, your offensive line did their job. Anytime you can do that, you can almost hit 1,000 in a game. Your offensive line is moving people out of the way. They're creating pockets for the pass game. They're opening up run lanes for our running backs. They're doing a great job. And I think this is one of those games where, I think it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Everybody talks about the SEC and how they schedule these games halfway through the season, towards the end of the season. But I think that it can work in teams' favor as well. When you're going in a stretch run like we have, you've had some injuries. You're getting some key returners back. You're looking to enhance a part of your offense, a part of your defense, a part of your special team. Sometimes you need these games. And so being able to get our offensive line pieces back, being able to exploit them in the run game, open up the pass game, I thought they did a great job overall because of what they did in creating pockets for our quarterback, creating lanes. And that's what you want to see from the offensive line.
I want to bring this up because at some point we're going to move on to Auburn, but I want to bring this up because back to that original question about like people not really super impressed with the victory that they had against New Mexico State. I want to go back to a terrible season, 2022, when they beat UMass 20-3, and I remember similar conversations about that game. Like, oh man, if this is what you're going to do against UMass, just wait till next week against LSU. They beat LSU 38-23. And look, I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen this week or the week after against Texas. But my point is, sometimes these games, Jordan, it's really not about what the score is or the domination. It's about the coaching staff figuring certain things out and then rewriting the script for the teams that matter, these playoff push matchups that are coming at the end of the game, at end of the season.
Well, look, here's the deal. The players know that this is more so a glorified practice. If we're being real, you're coming from LSU, you're coming from South Carolina, now you're hitting New Mexico State. At the end of the day, there are certain objectives that we want to accomplish as a staff. And we know that going into this game because we know that just physically we are more talented than this group, right? So you look at that UMass game, I remember a big downpour of rain, crazy kind of atmosphere, whatever. And it is hard to get up for those games when you're coming off of two back-to-back games, crowd is Rockets, one at home, crowd is Rockets, one away. You were trying to fine-tune things. So, i.e. tackling, i.e. passing game, i.e. getting the continuity back on the offensive line. And the players know that, but most importantly, the coaches know that. The coaches know this is the hardest sell of the year. You're in the middle of SEC run, then you plop into Mexico State. I got to sell that to my player. But also at the same time, having a group of individuals, a group of players that know what the task is, that know that we control our destiny, and being able to fine tune and hit those objectives, that's a big sign that people need to see. So we can't get, on one side or the other as far as the team looked good, the team didn't look good, all these different things. At the end of the day, we were playing New Mexico State. At the end of the day, we were playing an inferior opponent. At the end of the day, we had to hit our objectives in order to springboard us into these last two games and hopefully an FCC championship game. So that's what we wanted to accomplish, and I think we accomplished the task this past weekend.
We didn't talk about tight ends. I think I haven't done my job as a host if we're 10 minutes into this and Trey and Theo just doing their thing this past weekend.
Yeah, him, Theo, all those guys. But they had the opportunity. Our passing game hasn't really been there. Outside of the Florida game, when have you really heard the tight ends' names throughout the year, right? So that's what I'm saying. We hit the objective. Look, I think with Marcel getting comfortable in the offense, I think that with Marcel starting to get his rhythm, but most importantly, understanding that this is his now, the playbook, the confidence with Klein, all that stuff opens up. But now Marcel's starting to hit key factors and hit key people within the offense is important as well. When you look at the pass game with the tight ends, I think that was very intentional with what they wanted to accomplish on the offensive side because they know that there's weapons there. They know that they got to be able to utilize that. So we have our downfield threats with our outside receivers, but also being able to hit certain checkdowns, hit certain mesh routes, certain cross points within the pass game. I think you saw some growth from Marcel in that aspect. And so, man, putting all of those factors together is everything that I think Klein wanted to have, and understanding that we have the run element as well. So I think that was very important this week.
Have you paid attention to Auburn at all this year?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I kind of stopped paying attention after one of my guys got hurt. One of my players that come through my program, Champ, got hurt, man, broke his leg against Arkansas. But after that, you test them sporadically. Auburn is a very dangerous team because Auburn has athletes that can compete with anyone. The problem with Auburn is dealing with just that slump of getting over the hump. That's their issue. This is a dangerous game because which Auburn team is going to show up? Is it going to be the team that's going to come flat? Is it the team that's going to front run? Is it the team, once you get ahead on them, they're going to pack it in? Is it the team that's going to fight? Every time you go to Jordan-Hare, crazy things happen in that stadium. So this is one of those games where you need to have your antennas up. You need to have your red alerts going because I don't want to call it a trap. It's an SEC game, but you're dealing with what's it called, Jekyll and Hyde. You're dealing with a team that you don't know what personality you're going to get this weekend. So I'm always assuming the game is harder than what you think it is, and they have the talent that's able to be able to win this game. But do they believe that now? Like I said before, comes down to the players. The coaches are going to preach it all year long. Do the players take ownership, and do they understand that they control their destiny? Are they willing to strain at all points, at all costs? This is what this game comes down to.
If A&M plays their best, they win this game, right? Is it
by 2 scores? Two scores easy if they play their best. It's not even a thought. Here's where we have the advantage. We have the advantage on the defensive line, as always. We already know how teams are going to play us. They're going to limit our opportunities to get pressures and to get sacks by getting the ball out of their hand. The one thing that we need to learn from the South Carolina game is we need to learn how to deal with the misdirection that we're going to get with Auburn, because South Carolina was able to expose that. South Carolina out formation does. Do we make the adjustments from that standpoint? As far as the defensive standpoint, offensively, we know that we can get to the edges with the threat of the running back, but now we know that we have the pass game in our back pocket as well, along with the tight end sets. So how do we utilize all of those factors in order to formulate this game plan to expose them early and end the game quick? This is one of those games where you have to put your foot on their throat early because you can't give Auburn life at home. Anytime you give them life, they're always in the fight, which means they have a chance to win the game. So we need to eliminate all hope early.
I want a defensive mind's perspective on why A&M has been susceptible recently, more than the last early part of the season, I should say, to runs on the outside. Are they getting too much of a push inside? Are they not containing? Is it maybe the secondary not helping out? Like, I've seen a lot of plays on the outsides, and I'm trying to understand why those were happening more than earlier in the year.
Alignment. A lot of the outside runs that we're getting hit on are condensed formations. Anytime you condense the formation, you create leverage and blocks. Now, let's go back to South Carolina. They're the team that exposed it the most. We didn't position ourselves correctly. We didn't have our alignments. Our alignments were a lot of inside shade on those reduced splits, which allowed them to pin us and get leverage, create one-on-one opportunities with the back, and we missed tackles. A lot of the things that we have on those outside runs are just alignment issues and fits. We have guys fitting inside instead of containing it, sending it back to the rest of their help on the inside. When you look at our defensive line, one of the things that they know that we can do is rush the passer, so they use that against us as well. So think of like a Micah Parsons with the Dallas Cowboys. Great pass rusher, but we run straight at him in the run game. They know if we can run at those ends, we can limit their ability. Also, we know that if we can run at their ends and we can have some pin and pulls, create double blocks, duo type of blocks, we can limit their ability. So that's what teams are going to do. That's what I expect Auburn to do with a lot of the misdirection that they like to operate in. So if we can fix that, if we can get that taken care of just off alignment itself, we eliminate a lot of big plays.
What do you think about DJ Durkin as a defensive coordinator?
Oh, that's a double-edged sword too. I think that he's good if the personnel is good. That's what I think. I think if he has the dominant personnel, I think he could be a good defensive coordinator. I just think that he puts defenses in a lot of hard situations with the 3-man fronts that he likes to run. I know that was a bugaboo for us last year, but I just think that, man, if he just utilizes his personnel better, he could be a top-tier D coordinator. He's smart. He understands the game. But the situational awareness, I think, is where we can have the advantage. I think that's where we come in with the advantage from a schematic standpoint offensively, understanding who we're going against. Now, with that being said, he understands the personnel because he coached the majority of the personnel that was on our defense. So overall, there's a lot of gaping holes that we can have and a lot of gaping holes that we can create in this offense, but also understanding the weak elements within his defense were always seams. The seam element of his defenses are always weak, but also interior runs, quick counters, traps, type of power plays. That's where we always struggle, and that's where you see Auburn struggling this year as well. So I think we can take advantage of that.
Let's talk about being in this position, right? Like the fact that A&M is in this position.
Mm-hmm.
Did you expect them on November the 19th to be with a chance to be in the playoffs, like a legitimate chance to be in the playoffs? Were you thinking it?
Yes, right. You expanded the field to 12, so yes. And we have said this every year, and we say this at the beginning of every season. It is not a talent issue. We have the talent to beat anybody in the country. The problem is the A&M fan base has to believe that. We also have the right guy who is instilling the right things in this team, the right type of concept, the right type of will, work ethic, but also getting the right coaching staff to be able to utilize what we do best. So, yes, I fully expected it, especially with a 12-team playoff. Why not us? Why can't we be here? Now, it's always a privilege when you have the expectations, but now that the expectations are upon us, will you will or will you rise to the occasion? I believe that we have the team that can rise to the occasion, but most importantly, I think we have the guy at the head of the table who wants the expectation, who welcomes the expectation. You can't win anything if you don't believe that you can. And with the talent that we've acquired, with the type of recruitment classes that we've had over the years, the type of talent that we brought in through the transfer portal, we have what we need. Now it's time to finish and execute. Can we finish the job? That's been the biggest thing with us year in and year out, is finishing what we've already started. That's where we got to be now.
And how hard is it going to be to finish? Because you do have a road SEC game against a team with talent, and you have potentially the best record in the SEC the week after your bitter rival.
Well, in order to hold up a trophy, you have to go through obstacles, and obstacles are going to present resistance. So if the obstacles are going to present resistance, why not embrace the hard and go knock the obstacles down? That's what we have to do. Each week is its own season. So we're going into a national championship game this Saturday. We're going to another one next Saturday. Then we're going into an SEC championship. All those things are obstacles. We got to be able to conquer those. And each time you conquer, you take one step higher on the mountain, man. Every time that you climb that mountain, the air gets thinner and thinner. And it's harder to breathe. Will you push through, and will you be able to hold up that trophy at the end? That's what we are. Everything is an obstacle moving forward, and we have to knock that down each time.
Have you... Let me see how I want to phrase this, because I don't want to say, do you think they're going to do it? But based on what we've seen all season, not just the last 2 weeks, all season, do you expect to be a 9-win team heading into this game against Texas?
Yes. I expect to be a 10-win team heading into Atlanta. That's what I expect. Why? If anything drives me nuts, pessimistic viewpoints drive me nuts. When you have the ability, we have everything that we need. We have the defensive personnel. We have the offensive personnel. Now it's about the execution part. It is on the players. The coach's job is to put you in position. As a coach, the number one lie that's ever been told in coaching is that I need to be a motivator. That's not true. My job is to put you in position to win. That ought to be motivation enough. If you are put into position to win, it is on you as the player to execute that. It is on you as a collective group in order to be have one task, one focus, one-minded, be one cohesive group and get the job done. It's on the players now. The coaches are going to have them ready. The game plan is going to be there. It's time to execute at this point. Do you want to be champions or not?
Jordan, great stuff as always, my friend. Appreciate your time.
All right, let's do it.
All right, man. Thank you very much. Jordan Pugh here.